focus to the other big story that we're tracking here on the broadcast. Drone terror continues in Jammu. In the latest incident, another drone was spotted at Ratnuchak and Kunjwani military areas. Union Defence Minister Rajnath Singh, Home Minister Amit Shah met Prime Minister Narendra Modi on this entire situation in Jammu, Kashmir and Ladakh. The National Security Advisor was also a part of this meeting. India has also raised the issue of drone terror strikes at the United Nations General Assembly. Remember, terror is not a bilateral issue. Terror, including that comes from Pakistan, is a threat to the world.
Five drones in 3 days. Drone terror threat hovers on military establishments in Jammu. After drones laden with IED attacked the Jammu airbase on Sunday, and 2 drones were spotted at the Kaluchak army base on Monday, another drone has been spotted near Ratnuchak and Kunjwani military air bases in the wee hours of Tuesday, triggering alarm bells among security circles. The unmanned flying object was spotted first at 1:08 a.m. at Ratnuchak base. It then appeared at 3:09 a.m. at Kunjwani base for the second time. A little over an hour later, the drone was again spotted at 4:19 a.m. again near the Kunjwani base.
Security agencies so far are tight-lipped about the incident that took place in the VRs today, but what we are learning is that drone has been spotted at 3 places, at 3 defense installations.
Even as our forces maintain a tight vigil of the skies, the investigation is underway into the Sunday drone strike. Terror outfit Lashkar-e-Taiba is believed to be responsible for the twin blasts, which reportedly was carried out using 2 drones, which dropped explosives and were then pulled back by handlers. The NIA has now taken over this crucial investigation.
Investigations have been intensified into the twin blasts that occurred inside the Air Force Station in Jammu. Now the Union Home Ministry has asked the NIA to take over the probe. NIA has been handed over the probe of this entire incident. The scope of the investigation is being expanded, and now the security agencies are trying to get to the bottom of this entire conspiracy.
Diplomatically, India is now upping the ante, raising the drone terror at the UN and seeking global attention to Pakistan's terror tactics.
Terrorism and cross-border terror attacks have taken a serious, ugly and deadly turn. India has escalated the matter to the United Nations, dragging Pakistan to the world body and exposing Pakistan's cross-border terrorism activities, wherein weaponized drones are now being used to attack India, and the nefarious activities by the Pakistani state against India continues.
The government is keeping a hawk eye on all the developments in Jammu. Defence Minister Rajnath Singh has been briefed by the forces, after which he has also apprised the Prime Minister over the drone threat. Home Minister Amit Shah and NSA Doval also attended the crucial meet at Prime Minister's residence. India's forces and the government are taking no chances. The series of drone sightings has the security establishment on the highest level of alert now in the valley. With Sunil G. Bhatt, Kamaljit Sandhu and Geeta Mohan, Bureau Report, India Today.
Let me now quickly cut across to our guest, but I want to begin by asking Kamal, you've been speaking to your sources both in the Ministry of Defence and the Ministry of Home Affairs. Is there a link, Kamal, between the drone strike and sightings in Jammu and the spike in violence in Kashmir?
Well, this looks like an orchestrated plan by Pakistan and the terror groups obviously acting on the ISI and Pakistani army directions. Now, putting behind the FATF threat, remember the FATF has put Pakistan on the grey list. 26 of the 27 of those conditions were agreed upon by Pakistan. But clearly, they have now got an open hand. The FATF threat no longer is there for them. They continue to be on the grey list. The other part is about how there is 100 days of ceasefire and beyond. but with Pakistan, it is always 2 steps forward and 4 steps backward. So in that particular sense, does not mean much progress.
Okay.
And Pakistan has a newer and more deadly design now by use of technology, by
Yes.
use of drones. They started this almost 3 years ago by sending in weapons through drones, both in Punjab and in Jammu area. And now there has been fresh recruitment taking place in Kashmir Valley. Some of these weapons have come through tunnel, the other through drones. And now a deadly attack inside Air Force Station is a clear escalation for the Pakistan side.
That's a good point
Not
to make.
only
It's a very clear escalation. And General Sharma, did India do the right thing by raising drone terror at the United Nations? Terror is not a bilateral issue. It affects the entire world, sir.
Yeah, thank you, Gaurav, for inviting me. The session that is taking place in United Nations is largely related to transformative technologies. That was the subject of the debate that's going on, and addressing the challenges, especially in relationship to terrorism. So the United Nations the General Assembly debate has been largely on the same issues. And the issues and points raised by us today in the General Assembly were also in relationship to the same issues. I have a larger reference to what's been happening in Jammu in the drone attacks by us. So the whole debate, that 3 days of debate that's on, is actually relates to terrorism and the disruptive technologies, including the Secretary General in his speech, in his 3 points that he gave up. The third point largely related to this issue of use of drones, and he referred to the word use of drones in the disruptive technologies as terror tactics. So it was an opportune moment for us, and since we were represented there, we made a large issue and brought it out to the fore.
Because this is a huge threat for our country. And Group Captain Vinod, is the land-centric approach to counter terror now a thing of the past? Or is the threat now not just on land, but also in the air?
Very good question, and it is not a thing of the past. I say this, and I say this with all humility. Take aeroplane was converted into a weapon, and that they went into Twin Towers, and Twin Towers came down on the very same day. And if the similar amount of explosive needed to be packed, you had to go on the ground, pack it on the building, and that would have never seen the light of the day if it was just a land-centric approach.
Yes.
The air-centric approach, what happens, Gaurav, is, there's something called a Warden model. You can bypass anything and hit at the center, and that is exactly what happened at Jammu. Now, if you drag your feet on, not looking at three-dimensional defense like we talked about yesterday, then we will get into trouble. And thankfully, this small little incidents, I would call it. I wouldn't call it attack as such. If it was a well-orchestrated attack all across the bases, we would be talking something else today. But this small incident has, given us a wake-up call, and we have come from first gear to fifth gear. And Kamal covered, they continuing to remaining on grey list.
Yes.
Is another issue that has emboldened them. See, drone is like a knife. In the hand of a chef, it can provide you wonderful gourmet dishes, and in the hand of a killer, it can be, you can do murder. So, drone is for good and drone is for bad as well.
And this, in Pakistan's hand, it's clearly not a chef, it's a terrorist with a drone. And Kamal, India, to a very large extent, and of course it took decades and hundreds and hundreds of sacrifices, India has defeated terror on land with the anti-infiltration obstacle system, sensors, CCTV cameras, high perimeter walls, but none of them are effective against a drone strike. So are Pakistan-backed terrorists now a step ahead of our security agencies?
This is inevitable because use of technology is something which has been around for some time. Drones being used to drop weapons. So this is only a matter of escalation, that this happened deep inside the Air Force Station in Jammu, not in the periphery, but near the helipad itself is a clear indication that they're using satellites, GPS installed on drones, perhaps pre-fed into the system to ensure there was a precision dropping of the IEDs. So this has been around, this was awaited. The fact is that these are low-flying UAVs which cannot be easily detected even if you have the anti-drone technology. Now, we know that the NSG has been deployed in and around the Air Force Station, also in the other military station, keeping in mind the fresh threat coming in from the Pakistani drones.
Yes.
Now, this is a theory which is being worked upon and looked into by multiple agencies, including the NIA, whether this was assembled within the Jammu city or whether it came from across the border, which is just 14 kilometers away. This is something which is where I was telling you earlier, a dire need for a fresh SOP, and also looking at countries like Israel or America to have a technology which deals with this imminent threat. Do we have the wherewithal is the big question, but this is a challenge. This is not going to be just in J&K, but also in Punjab area, where Pakistan has keen interest and wants to not only push in Khalistani terrorists, but also drop in weapons. And that has been happening for the past quite some time.
Absolutely. But General Sharma, Israel is a very small country in terms of size, and America has oceans on all sides protecting it. And they're both lucky not to be neighbors with countries like Pakistan and China. But General Sharma, should we have woken up to this threat when Islamic State was using terrorist drones in Syria and Iraq, or when they were used against the Saudi pipeline? Are we waking up too late, or we'd woken up but not taken effective measures that Jammu happened?
Okay, thank you. You know, it is very easy to go to retrospective and start the blame game. Now, the issue is that in the last 1 year, there have been 7 to 8 places where the drones had come inside in J&K alone, in Kathua, in Samba, Poonch, Rajouri, Akhnur, Arnia, Iramban, you know. So, and you know, India has got 6 lakh unregulated drones all over India.
Yes.
There is no Indian policy. What happened in Jammu airfield is relevant, but it is not as relevant as there are 6 lakh unregulated drones which each can be a weapon system all over India. And it is not one Jammu airbase. There are thousands and thousands of VAVPs all over India.
Yes.
We don't require a SOP for the airbase at Jammu. We require an SOP, a doctrine, a counter drone doctrine for India. So, you know, we have an attack in Pathankot, we start making SOPs for Pathankot. It's not relevant, it's the nation that matters. So, you know, first time that this strike has taken place,
yes,
it is not a drone strike. Escalation has not taken place in the proximity of the borders. This is not Samba. This is good about 20 kilometers one side going and coming, and he was able to retrieve the drones back.
Yes.
Probably it could have taken off from within our own territory. It need not have come from across
Yes,
the borders. But the fact of the matter is that there is an escalation and we got to prepare for it. We
There
have
is an escalation.
one more line here. We have the technology in India.
Okay.
In the private sector, technology exists. Technology, electro-optical instruments on radars, and so many things exist within the country. Also, the matchup of targeting along with the guns. The point is, the technology exists, our procedures are so tough that we are not able to procure. Let's get the procedures moved away and start procuring things which is required for us yesterday and tomorrow.
Okay, but you know, the flip side is, would that lead to allegations of corruption subsequently?
No.
And you know, we faced that with Rafale.
Today, national threat is more important. You know, everything we start burying it down, saying, okay, we will blacklist a company if we don't buy item A, B, or C, and make procedures so tough that we can't buy because of corruption. And you know, you lo and behold, the next strike will be 20 drones. 5 of them will be autonomous. You can't even jam them. They will come autonomous. They will be targeting. They will have the aircraft fitted on their mind. What would we do then? We are waiting for corruption to be sorted out, but we will not procure items.
No, I completely agree with you. I am just playing the devil's advocate. Remember, very powerful entities were involved, and they almost, and who better than Group Captain Vinod to tell us how Rafale procurement was almost stalled in our country. It's only the Air Force that stuck its neck out, going up to the Supreme Court saying, we stand by the deal that we got the Rafales. But Group Captain Vinod, you've heard the points raised by General Rakesh Sharma and his boots on ground. So what is the next step now? How do forces stay a step ahead, not just of these terrorists, but Pakistan that backs these terrorists?
Quick correction to what General covered. is the policy very much exists. And let me stick my neck out to say that the technology that we are fielding now, called the NPNT, the no permission, no takeoff, is one of the best technology and the only of its kind in the world. And I am not here to explain NPNT. People can Google and read about it. But to even today, there were drone policies being discussed, and we have a separate directorate under Ministry of Civil Aviation called a drone directorate. Well, our doctrine is well in place as far counter drone is concerned. The FICCI had come out with this doctrine almost 1 year ago. So saying that government is not alive to the situation would be completely wrong. And like you covered, we have to walk a tight rope between a license Raj vis-a-vis progress. But the fact of the matter still remains, Gaurav, is that our defense, especially the air defense, as well as the theater command, etc., that we are talking about, is still a land-centric approach. And countries which followed land-centric approach, unko mukhi khani padi hai. They always fell flat. I mean, let me give you an example of Beqa Valley. Beqa Valley, what happened?
Sir, I want to stay on the current issue because time today is of essence. But I simply want to stay on the issue of what do you do to stay one step ahead of the adversary, and that adversary is not just Lashkar-e-Taiba or Jaish-e-Mohammed, some ragtag radical Islamist terrorists. It is a state like Pakistan that backs them. How do you stay a step ahead?
95% of the problem can be solved if you have two simple jammers. And I say this with conviction, 2.4 and 5.8 gigahertz jammers. 95% of this DJI kind of the drone can be completely eliminated coming into anything. I mean, you're a house and you want to protect yourself from drone, get a 2.4, 5.8 gigahertz jammer, which is time a dozen available for cheap. So, and now we have to only look at those 5%, like General covered, which could be autonomous.
Okay.
And for which we may have to spend top dollars. So be it. We will spend top dollars and get the professionals into place. That is the IAF.
No, but can you spend top dollar across the length and breadth of your country and you may prevent it from coming into your country? How do you prevent the enemy within, General Sharma? Because internally, does this mean now a more intrusive approach to keep an eye on all those who have licensed and even unlicensed drones, not just in Jammu and Kashmir, but in different parts of our country?
Yeah, so, see, there may be a policy existing, but what we need to have is something called no drone zones. They have to be areas where drones are not permitted. They ought to be area of detection. No, see, most thing that anguishes me is that there is lack of detection. Now, I know they fly so low, they fly so slow that it's very difficult for radars to pick up. But there are instrumentations of this kind where it is possible to pick up within the country. It is available. There are people. I'm told the MHA is going
one by one.
I'm told the MHA is already going in for procurement of such kind of equipment directly, which the armed forces will take another 5-6 months to sort it out. Let's do the MHA way if it's not been done through the armed forces way. We have to decide the VAVPs. I will know patrol dumps existing while I'm not getting involved into land and the air. But the fact is that there are serious VAVPs existing on ground, closer to borders and in hinterland, and with the unregulated drones, even kamikaze drones. We have to on with sorting these issues out. We just can't keep debating it. It's the time of debate is over. This is already stands escalated to next levels.
Oh, it has been. And Group Captain Vinod, look at the history with this troublesome neighbor. Kaluchak in 2002, Samba 2013, Nagrota in Pathankot 2016, Sanjuan in 2018. Just some instances where Pakistan state-sponsored terror has targeted Indian military installations, both Army and Air Force. So will Pakistan Army and terror commanders feel the heat? If they feel the heat, is that perhaps the only way to deter future attacks? We've discussed part of it yesterday, but is that the only effective mechanism?
Let me give you an example. If I am a boxer and I am told I will only keep my hand up and keep blocking my punches, I will not give a counter punch, I am not worthy of a boxer. As simple as that. It has to have an offense and a defense balance. That is my long and short point.
Okay, General, you'd agree that we can't just keep fighting this war defensive. We can't just keep blocking attacks. There has to be a counter punch for the adversary to feel the pain.
So if you go back to Ladakh, when we started the game in May last year, we were devoid of drones, not a single one flying in that area. We had no ISR equipment whatsoever. The Chinese had n number of drones flying. They were not carrying weaponry, but they were flying all over our border areas, knowing where we were in eastern Ladakh. We were working out and making defenses, etc. In the course of 8-9 months, every unit has got drones now. There has been a dramatic shift. It's a threat of what happened in eastern Ladakh forced the units out there to wake up to the idea that we got to know what's behind the hill, what's happening. So we learned the art of detecting ourselves by procurement. So a threat comes in, we find the answers. Now we got to wake up to this threat. It's serious. We need to detect, we need to identify, and then destroy. And destroy by all. Soft kill, rightly pointed out, soft kill is the best method of destroying in case of use of jamming equipment, but then you require kinetic kills also at times where soft kill doesn't work. And if there is a swarm, there is so many issues happening together. We got to start working the methodology out. I think if you start within our country, we will be able to find many ways in which we can sort it out. If we keep waiting for it, for say DRDO, and the time will come 6 months, 1 year.
Okay.
6 month, 1 year time is not there, sir.
That's a very pertinent point you make, and I agree with both that one, domestic solutions and not just government but the private sector, but find a solution within the country. General Rakesh Sharma and Group Captain Vinod, as always, many thanks for joining me here on India First. A quick break at this stage.